Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vere and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, government subsidises the school fees for all Ha'apai students. The electricity tariff continues to increase by 0.39 seniti, and Te Pou High School Nuku campus to undergo renovation work to its buildings with support from the Japanese government. These and more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports, world and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. The Honourable Minister of Education and Training, Dr. Ana Tauwhi'olungaki, reveals that government has approved for no school fees to be imposed on all Ha'apai students for the 2014 academic year. Speaking exclusively to Television Tonga News, Dr. Tauwhi'olungaki clarified that this goes for all Ha'apai students, whether they're studying in Ha'apai or Tongatapu. Here's Kalaine Paletua with more on that story.
Government continues to give support to the recovery efforts in the Ha'apai group of islands in the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Ian last month. Houses, church buildings and classrooms suffered much damage from the cyclone, which initiates government approval to exempt Ha'apai students from paying their school fees for this academic year. The Honourable Minister of Education and Training, Dr. Ana Tauwhi'olungaki, says a survey on all Ha'apai students will be held in order to ensure proper coverage under this assistance. The government's main assistance to Ha'apai is to exempt all school students in Ha'apai from paying school fees for the 2014 academic year. This includes all levels such as preschool, primary and secondary level for both government and church schools. This government assistance is administered through the National Emergency Management Office or NEMO. Furthermore, NEMO staff will conduct a survey on the number of students from Ha'apai who are in Tongatapu for further studies to be included in the package. Dr. Tauwhi'olungaki adds that this is government's way of supporting the people of Ha'apai in the aftermath of the cyclone. All government schools began yesterday, and the Minister of Education says students in Ha'apai are being taught in temporary shelter until tents are distributed to all the schools. The public needs to support and encourage the people in Ha'apai to move on from this disaster despite the challenges, especially the students. I want to advise them to study hard because their future depends on what they're studying for. Other assistance have also been provided for the Ha'apai students, such as food items, school uniforms, stationery, and other materials.
His Majesty King Dubo VI is still in Ewa on an official visit to his estate of Homa and to inspect the royal family's forest project on the island. The King has been on the island for almost 2 weeks and is residing at the royal residence at Heilala Tangtangi. On Sunday, he attended the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga service at Ohonua. During his stay, products and materials from his project have been shipped to Tonga Forest Products this week. His Majesty is accompanied by His Royal Highness Prince Ata and Lord Luani. Samoa's cabinet has endorsed monetary assistance of 50,000 pa'anga to help with the recovery efforts in the Ha'apai group of islands after it was hit by Tropical Cyclone Ian. A statement from the Samoan cabinet stressed the close relationship between the governments of Tonga and Samoa. Samoa is the latest neighbouring country to pledge monetary assistance to the kingdom. In 2012, the Tongan government provided financial assistance to Samoa in the aftermath of Cyclone Evan. The electricity tariff has increased by 0.39 seniti per kilowatt per hour. This was effective last Saturday, February 1st. Tonga Power Limited says the electricity tariff is for all consumers in Tongatapu, Vava'o, Ha'apai and Ewa. Tonga Power CEO says the power hike is due to the increasing cost of diesel. However, solar farms have been set up in Tonga to keep the power prices below 1 pa'anga per kilowatt per hour. We're joined Fatai Whainga'a with the details.
The electricity tariff has increased from 92.82 seniti per kilowatt per hour to 93.21 seniti. The CEO of Tonga Power Limited says the electricity tariff is for all consumers in Tongatapu, Vava'o, Ha'apai and Ewa.
So while the increase was about 7 seniti per litre, very high, it would have meant an increase of about 2 seniti per kilowatt hour. We've actually managed to hold that increase back to 0.39, just under 0.4 seniti per kilowatt hour. Unfortunately, we have to pass that through. We just can't do anything about the cost of diesel. it goes up in Singapore, and the economy is such that the paanga keeps depreciating, so our diesel costs keep eating away at all the savings we make.
Mr. Van Brink stressed that the power hike has nothing to do with their operations.
So for
in
Mama
Hawaii.
Mai, we reduced our tariffs in August 2012 when the plant was finished. And for example, the Vava'u solar, we actually decreased our prices in December to reflect that by about 0.8 cents per kilowatt hour. So the savings are fairly well immediate. I think the problem that people see, and I know there's some comments made in the public domain about the renewable projects not having any impact. That's rubbish. It's having impact. To give you an example, in February 2012, our fuel price was 175 cents per kilowatt hour, cents per litre. We're now facing 190 cents per litre. So our cost of diesel since February 2012 has gone up by 10%, but our fuel tariff that we actually charge customers to recover it has gone down by 7%. And the reduction is purely due to Mama Mai, our losses reductions to Vava'u solar, which we pass through to customers. So the savings are definitely there. I can tell you that if we didn't have those projects in place right now, we'd be charging closer to 1 paanga per kilowatt hour to our customers.
The Tonga Power Limited relies on diesel fuel to distribute electricity to the consumers. This contributes to the monthly hikes in the power price. In a previous interview with Television Tonga News, the CEO of Term, Enoke Valafinau, says attempts are made to lower electricity costs by setting up of solar farms. He says with the current solar farm set up in Tonga, up to 470,000 litres of diesel to the value of 800,000 paanga has been saved a year. Moreover, the initiation for a fourth solar farm at Waini was marked last Friday. Meanwhile, the issue of the continual increase in electricity prices was raised during the International Renewable Energy Agency IRENA meeting in Abu Dhabi last month. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whaingaa.
The Free Wisdom Church of Tonga plans to rebuild 21 buildings in Ha'apai after it was hit by the cyclone. The reconstruction project includes church buildings, halls and residential homes for its church ministers. Linda Filiai has the details.
The Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga Secretary, Reverend Dr. Tevita Havea, paid a visit to Ha'apai to inspect the extent of the damage to church-owned building. He says plans are underway to send construction materials to Ha'apai to first address the minor work before starting on the bigger project. While in Ha'apai, we visited our church members and Ha'apai residents before inspecting the damage caused to various church buildings and properties. Reverend Dr. Havea adds a survey will be carried out to determine the work needed. The result of the survey will be submitted to the church committee. We are hoping to rebuild and renovate church building in Ha'apai. We don't want to raise funds in Ha'apai as the church members also suffered from the cyclone. We plan to hold fundraise drives in Tongatapu and abroad. My heart goes out to the people of Ha'apai and all those living in tents, especially the elderly people. Reverend Dr. Havea says fellow Methodist churches from abroad like Australia, New Zealand and the US have also pledged assistance to the drive. He also commented and thanked the government and stakeholders for all their cooperation and support.
From court, the Principal Magistrate Salis Mafi has ruled to arrest a Tongan woman for forgery and taking a false oath. This morning, Salis Mafi ruled to arrest the accused, Ofa Helotu Naupoto from Niutoa, for not appearing in court. Ofa Naupoto was alleged also for using another person's birth certificate, where she used Ofa Kimuli Patsy Liti's birth certificate to marry a 61-year-old Vietnamese man, Van Ark Nguyen, in November of 2013. Ofa Liti resides in Auckland, New Zealand. A complaint was made by her relatives that an application for a passport was submitted to the Tonga Immigration Department under her name, and it showed that she was married. Steps were taken and the Tonga police charged Naupoto for forgery and taking a false oath. The accused is expected to reappear in the Magistrate Court February 18th. The Bow High School's Nuku campus will benefit from renovation work to its school buildings thanks to the Japanese government. A signing contract was held between the Japanese ambassador to Tonga, His Excellency Dr. Kazuchika Hamuro, and the chairperson of the Parents and Teachers Association Committee, Holani Nauvai. This made to formalise the assistance. Anasiu Falekaono was there and filed this report.
The Japanese ambassador to Tonga, His Excellency Dr. Kazuchika Hamuro, and the chairperson of Tupou High School's PTA committee, Holani Tuinawai, as they signed the contract on the school's premises. In a speech from the Japanese ambassador, he clarifies how the assistance will help the people.
This grant contract signing ceremony marks the beginning of the project that will benefit the students and teachers of this school for many years to come. The upgrades of Tupou High School Nukunuku campus, which will include a safer and healthier educational environment, are funded by the government of Japan under the Japan's Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Project, or more commonly known as the GGP. The GGP ensures that assistance is provided for priority needs such as primary health and education.
Renovation work will be made to the school's buildings, toilet blocks, and water tank. In remarks from the chairperson of the school's PTA committee, Holani Tuinawai, he speaks about the various challenges faced by the staff and students.
Phase 1, the bathroom. She needs a new block bathroom. Secondly, the hall with a wooden floor. Far too many holes on the floor. Many holes on the roof, along in white spaces on the sides. Second, the 5 classrooms. The children complain. When the rain comes down, there is no difference of sitting outside and sitting inside the classroom. Fourth, the library. Many books have been damaged by water. When the rain comes down, the flood comes up, and the books swim in the water.
The renovation work is estimated at more than 160,000 pa'anga. The work will be carried out by the Manu Talamatangi Construction. For Television Tonga News, I'm Manasiu Falekauno.
That's the local news. Pacific is up next.